Square Enix announces mass layoffs as restructuring plan pulls development from overseas, which means the East is starting to leave the West. I wonder why. We're going to check out the Zoopunk trailer. Saw a clip of it. Looked kind of like Bucky O'Hare meets Cyberpunk, so we'll see about that. And then Sargon of Akkad says, Elon Musk reveals everything. We'll see what that is toward the end of the show, but we'll go ahead and get into it here with... Oh yeah, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Faulty start for a Monday. Big shocker there. This is the Associated Guest. I am always your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. So let's get into it with Miss Vera Dark here.
The video game industry is wild right now. We're seeing the downfall of Call of Duty, activists being fired en masse, and projects being canceled. And while we've been talking a lot about Square Enix purging lots of developers and also Sony being focused on their home market, it looks like Japanese companies might actually be leading this major change. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, it never made sense to me that companies just gave up their home market or stopped focusing on it. While, yes, you can make more money by trying to appeal to a global market, ultimately, if you are not making the content that made you popular in the first place and you shift that tone, it is not going to make you money anymore. The reason why Japanese manga and anime and video games became so popular at such a rapid rate was because they were unique, they were different, they were special. But now the Square Enixes and the Sonys have all just made more Western slop. They're not really making what made Japan special in the first place. And I've been talking a lot about Square Enix's mass layoffs. I did another video on Sony preparing to take on Nintendo in Japan, but I think that it's very curious when you see all of this information together, just how much Japan is leading the change in this industry right now. I don't think that we are going to see the EAs change a lot. I don't think that we're going to see the Ubisofts change a lot or the Obsidians change a lot. I don't even think we're going to see the Microsofts change a lot right now. But if they see that actually making a certain type of content sells and they actually start understanding what it is that gamers want versus what they don't want, like Call of Duty.
I'm not going to sign up for Nesna, but I do appreciate the engagement here. I appreciate you.
Duty Black Ops 7, we could see a much larger change. And over the past couple of years, I've been primarily consuming Eastern content.
And that is fair. Like, I started off playing video games with Eastern content. All your Nintendos, all of your Final Fantasies, starting at 6 and 7, I think was the first two I played. I was never good enough at tactics. My brother was very good at tactics. I'm not so much. And then, of course, Mario RPG, the merging or the stance of two Eastern developers together. But I was always an Eastern developer guy until the Xbox came out. The original Xbox had a lot of great content, mostly surrounding Star Wars, back when the property was in mostly good hands. BioWare and a few other places. Like the Dark Forces series was good, and that spun off into the the Outcast series, which the third one was the Jedi Academy, and it was probably the weakest. Best graphically, lightsaber earliest, but as far as all of them go, it was probably the weakest. But it was still a lot stronger than what we're getting these days, which looks and sounds amazing. But like most forms of entertainment art, that's pretty much where it stops. But 360 was good, and it was pretty much, ironically, when the Xbox 360 started to get overtaken by the PS3 due to the Red Ring of Death and all that shit, because the Xbox 360 started off strong. And the PS3 started off weak for other reasons, but PlayStation learned, Xbox coasted, and it's just been kind of downhill from there. Western developers have gotten lost inside the message and putting the message over the story, the narrative, the characters, everything that matters about any kind of story-based game. And I don't know. And I just downloaded. I'm probably going to start playing Final Fantasy 16. I'm sorry. I'll do the Outlast DLC some other time. And Ghost of Tsushima, I think I'm going to put on hold for a little bit. I think I burned myself out playing it for like 7 hours a weekend. But I will come back to it. I'll still have that saved. But people have been telling me to play Final Fantasy 16. It'll rejuvenate my love for the franchise. And if it does, then I'll probably jump into the remake not too long after that.
South Korean developers, Chinese developers, and yes, some Japanese developers are still making way better content than 90% of the companies in the West, and it does.
Chinese developers are still making great content. It's funny how when you want to take over the world, you put your perspectives in order. It puts things into perspective. I apologize. Square Enix, everything that's made in Japan, like Japan-based, is much better than everything that's mostly developed in America. I can't remember which franchise off the top of my head. But anyway, we'll continue.
Does suck to say, because I want to be able to just consume content from any type of developer, from any region, but you can't trust any group of developers across the board. And
no, you can't trust any of them, especially in basically any white country. I don't know what it is, but the white guilt has taken hold, and it's become forefront, mostly for upper middle class and upper class people who were born into these classes. Not people who fought to get to these classes, but the people who were born there.
And Square Enix, Sony, all going through some pretty big changes right now, and gamers are excited to see that because it could mean that we actually see a major shift. And I'm not just talking about, some people being laid off and some games being either canceled or repurposed. I mean, we need a total reset in this industry. And yeah, I do think that we could be headed towards that. I know that there's a big worry about AI completely replacing people in creative fields. I don't think that it's ever going to get that dire. And while there are a lot of people saying these mass layoffs aren't good because people are losing their jobs, we're talking about an industry that did overhire people. After the pandemic and work from home became popular, they hired and hired and hired, and then they greenlit and greenlit and greenlit. And maybe if they downsize from 20 projects in the works to 10, and they trim the fat and they actually start hiring veteran developers again, things could...
That would probably do well, because a lot of the veteran developers, one, they cost too much, from what I hear, and two, the hiring of people who are work from home only, especially on this side of the Prime Meridian, we're not doing so great, especially since COVID. Most of them probably still wear masks. Most of them when they're alone in their fucking house, and even on I keep wanting to say on Zoom meetings.
Could look
I keep
better.
wanting to say Skype.
So Square Enix announced mass layoffs as a restructuring plan pulls development from overseas. According to an internal presentation now published on Squeenix's website, a fundamental restructuring of the overseas publishing organization is being implemented with the aim of further strengthening global publishing capabilities and improving operational efficiency. According to IGN, this forms part of a push to consolidate its publishing business and focus on its own own game development in Japan. It's thought that the company is currently notifying some staff working in the UK and the US of pending redundancies, and while the exact number of those in scope in the US is unknown, IGN reports 137 jobs are presently at risk in the UK. I've done several videos on the state of Square Enix. They have fired localizers, they fired the Western lead, or I suppose I should say the lead of their Western division. They have fired DEI heads. I mean, we're talking about a lot of people in a lot of ridiculous roles, or people that need to be in touch with the audience that aren't being let go. To strengthen development capabilities from a group-wide perspective and to optimize resource allocation for maximizing the value generated by IPs, a further review of the development pipeline was conducted. As a result, the decision was made to close overseas development studios and shift towards consolidating development functions in Japan. They said that they're reorganizing their operations in North America and Europe to strengthen their development structure and to drive a globally integrated marketing strategy. And they have faced problem after problem after problem over the past few years. Remakes, reboots, rehashes. We're talking about the Final Fantasy series being at risk right now. We're talking about a lot of losses, and they need way more wins. And I do think that, yes, not focusing so much on the Western world is going to help them. I do think that they need to hone back in on what made them popular and successful in the first place. I'm not saying completely drop,
and again, I'm torn on how I feel about the Final Fantasy remake, specifically the Final Fantasy VII remake. I very much love how they updated Crisis Core. I think it's an interesting take. Like, it's the only way I would have accepted how long it took to get the Final Fantasy remake was for them to do something multiversy and done the way that it was done, for that to be kind of a sequel and kind of a remake. That's why I like the fact that how they worded what it is was kind of genius, especially if they pull it off. I haven't played the second one again, but the first one ended very well. Also, the fact that it only led to the end of Midgar, which is, as I remember, was less than half of the first disc. So this very well could be, if it follows the main structure of the original games. I mean, we could be playing this game as a whole series of, Jesus, up to 10 games maybe?
US and the UK. I'm not saying that because clearly that would not be a very smart
somewhere
move.
Between 6
but
and 10
they
games.
do need to actually
unless it changes and deviates from the prime timeline enough. Yeah, it's going to be more than a trilogy, unless, like I said, the deviation is high.
Kind of go back to the drawing board. We also have heard that Sony is preparing to take on Nintendo in Japan. Previously, the PlayStation leadership wasn't worried about losing ground in Japan to Nintendo. However, the new Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Hideki Nishino feels the opposite and now sees it as a priority, which I think is really good, but I don't know if they should address it this way because Nintendo does have a grip on the Japanese market. Nintendo worldwide is extremely popular, and PlayStation 4 years did slight Japanese gamers. And I do think that their public image has been tarnished by their very poor actions. So I think that it would take years to even kind of recapture that audience. I don't think that they're ever going to completely win against Nintendo, just like I don't feel Nintendo would ever completely win against PlayStation and Sony. But this is still a really good sign because when they moved their headquarters to California, that's when they started prioritizing slop. And if we can get them to not do that anymore, my God, this industry might be in a better place. And of course, you can't trust any of these companies. Square Enix is getting rid of people, doesn't mean they're going to change. Sony says that they want to focus more on Japan, doesn't mean they're actually going to do.
The only reason I can see that they did that is because the American side of business became so strong on all fronts in Sony that that more members of the board were American, so they decided to move the headquarters here, which there should be some kind of bylaw that says they should never do that in the future endeavors.
Do that doesn't mean they're actually going to change. You need to be cautiously optimistic because these companies have proven time and time again that they cannot be trusted. But we do need to at least say this sounds like a good idea if they're changing their company direction. That could mean that they're actually listening to gamers. Again, I don't necessarily believe.
Again, just and saying listening to gamers is kind of a broad topic because what is a gamer? If you include mobile gamers, then it includes most of these squawkers online. But there are different kinds of gamers. So, like I said,
believe that, but it is still important to point out that
statement.
is technically a possibility,
broad,
and the
but
more
like
of us that are vocal, the more
wide,
likely it is we see the
encompassing,
changes
broad.
that we feel most passionately about. And I want this industry to be better. There are people out there who say, oh my gosh, you just talk negatively about the industry. First of all, that's a complete and utter lie. But second of all, I criticize these companies in this industry because I want it to thrive. I want them to do better. I want them to listen. And if we don't ever say what is wrong, they will continue making what is wrong. And we are seeing a major shift right now. Arc Raiders and Battlefield 6 are
Yes.
completely obliterating Call of Duty. That is massive.
Once
Like,
I
that
upgrade
is
once
very
I upgrade my system, I might actually get Battlefield for the first time since Battlefield 1, I think it was.
big considering how Call of Duty has dominated. $70 billion went into the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Microsoft must be panicking right now. When we're hearing all of this news together, it could mean something very good. So I will be following the situation really, really closely. This does look good. Stay cautiously optimistic, but we are seeing these companies that once were extremely focused on their home market of Japan and who had moved away from it, going back to their roots and saying, this is now what we want to focus on the most. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video.
You guys make sure you get out there and support Veridark. She does a lot of these. Like I said, she does probably 2 videos a day, almost every day of the week. So she puts a lot of work into this. She actually does some editing, but mostly she scrolls and gives her perspectives, and she has some pretty good ones. So let's see what Zoopunk's all about.
Ray ventured into OG's territory alone. You sure you thought this through?
Thinking is your job. Doing is mine.
My name's Bucky. Bucky O'Hare.
That spark didn't come easy, Ray.
Yeah, a few bumps along the way. But I got it.
It's a backstory for Pepe from Star Fox.
You really fixing to gamble with it?
1 for 5. It's worth a shot.
Ain't you worried something might go wrong?
Wrong. I'm counting on it.
Yosaki is taken into the future. Okay, I kind of dig this, not gonna lie.
It's mine now. Finish him.
Elf bastard. All right, I see you.
Give it back.
Walked right in himself, huh?
Oh, good.
It's all yours now, boss.
Good work. Now with this, even the Machine Legion doesn't stand a chance against me.
What?
Huh?
On the papa!
Right on time! Miss me?
Don't get me wrong, I'm probably playing as old Bucky O'Hare here, but
Gotta hand it to you this time, Ray.
If Tron hadn't planned ahead and sent us as backup, you'd be done for.
Mission done? Let me take a look.
All accounted for. What's next?
It's time to save Torch City.
Zoopunk. I'm gonna check it out. Probably not day one, depending on what price it is. If it's $40 game, probably be there day one. If it's less, I don't know. I'm always questioning when stuff looks like this and it's less than $40. But that being said, let's see if people complain that it's not diverse enough, like they did Sun Wukong. And by people, I mean overprivileged white people. That being said, let's continue on to see what Elon revealed.
Elon decided to spill the beans on all of the anonymous accounts by rolling out labels on their user profiles to show the country that they are posting from. It shows in fact, let's have a look at one. Here's Prison Mitch. And if you click on the joined April, whatever it is, you see the account is based in the United States and it connects via, it's App Store. And they're on different ones. There's different information as well.
Okay.
For some reason. Let's just have a look at the next one on this. But you see connected via Indian Android app. Account based in India. And man, that was a lot of them. It turns out that there are lots of people around the world
to be fair, that one did say IND at the end of it, so that's, what do you think it meant? Indiana? What does this voice sound like?
Realize that Elon's paying people to use Twitter now. And there are millions of very politically engaged people in the West. And we can post non-stop slop targeting one side or the other. There's anti-migrant, and this has happened not just on Twitter, obviously. Like the largest Black Lives Matter account on Facebook had raised like 600K or something like that. It was found out to be just some Australian guy a few years back. And so, honestly, I'm personally not bothered by it at all. As you can see here, you've got an anti-Trump account called Ron Smith, 52,000 followers, just deletes himself because he's based in Kenya. Because you can just pick a side and you can join a team and decide, okay, I'm gonna be like,
That's why I don't take a lot of this shit seriously. Because on both sides, you'll find this, that people come from other countries that got no real dog in the fight. And they're more than happy to throw someone else's dog in the fight. Because what does it affect them? Mostly not at all. And they get to get them Tasty dollars.
I'm for this, post this repeatedly, get 50,000 followers, get hundreds of millions of views, make money off of this. And, you know, let's say you're making a couple of $1,000s a month by constantly posting on Twitter in Kenya. Well, that's pretty good. And this is what happened in India, actually. India became a bit of a problem for this because you would get sort of loops and closed networks of verified accounts all replying to each other to game the system to give themselves like $500 a month payouts. Now, that's not much to you or I, maybe, in the West. $500 is a very useful amount of money, but it's a lot more in India. Anyway, there were plenty of these. Absolutely plenty. Like, you've got anti-American, anti-Israel one, Marxist stuff from suppressed news, comes from North Africa, connects via the North African App Store. You've got other ones just in India, and you've got right-wing ones, this conscious philosopher from Serbia. Then you've got ones from Turkey and Norway.
Real quick, look, Smash, I got some respect for you, bro. You follow, you know, you hang out with some people that I actually do have a lot of respect for. I hope this is bait. And my God, I hope this is you surveying your audience to find out. Just damn, man. Do you consider Indians people? Yeah, they're people, man. What the fuck? Like, you can maybe say, like, do you think American Indians actually exist anymore? Because most of the ones I see are a bunch of white women with feathers in their hair and blonde hair. But this just, like, this has to be bait. I hope it is. They're people, man. Like, they might not believe the same as you do. You might not see most of them as good people, but they're people. If we start seeing people from other countries, even people on the other side of the political divide, as not people, then what are we even doing? I don't know.
Wherever, right? You can see that actually there is a huge number of anonymous people.
Hold on, let me get in.
Who have quite sizable accounts who are taking part in the discourse, and so this has been a real apocalypse. This has been a proper unveiling of what's actually happening. And you know what? As someone who's, of course, not anonymous on the internet, this has not affected me one bit, and I've really enjoyed watching it. Just everyone's like, oh my God, there are people who deleted their accounts. There are people who clearly were like, oh God, I better activate my VPN to make sure that it looks like I'm in America or wherever I'm commenting from.
And that is another thing. These accounts may be based in other countries because someone set up their account while they was on VPN. Why would they have a VPN in another country instead of just another region in their country? I don't know, but it could be, could be the case.
It is genuinely funny. And like I said, as someone who's not anonymous, like on my one, it was just like posts from the United Kingdom. Oh, what a surprise. Like it's very self-evident because I'm an influencer or whatever they say. So like for me, this wasn't anything interesting. But man, I was having fun just watching it online. But there was also some interesting things like Hope Not Hate, account based in the United States, connected via the United Kingdom App Store. That's interesting, because I do believe that Hope Not Hate is headquartered in Britain. And so it would suggest they're using a VPN. As well as, you get others. This could be Harry Eccles, and a British person who just happens to be a radical leftist with an account based in Indonesia, but connected via United Kingdom Android app. Right, again, that's interesting, because what that would imply is that they're using VPNs. Now, that's really interesting, because the government is coming for VPNs. Like, they're worried about this through the Online Safety Act, and this is something that, again, Nick Lowles seems to be in favour of, or people like Led by Donkeys, who they were like in Botswana or something. Like, they not commenting on at all, but it's like, okay, but you are using these things. You are in favour of these things through your revealed preference. And for pure partisan politics, you're going to let these things be taken away by the government. Because when it turns out that the VPNs are circumventing what the Online Safety Act was trying to prevent people from accessing, the government and the Labour government will find no other avenue to go down than to make them illegal. They're not going to have a choice. And so it's very weird how all of these people who are clearly using VPNs have got absolutely nothing to say about that. Purely for team safety. For like, just literally, well, the Labour government's our team, we're the centrist dads, we are in favour of whatever they do, even if we are currently doing what they want to ban. Anyway, that aside, you get some really funny things, like Yesterday's Britain, a better Britain. Account based in France, connected via...
Look, I don't agree with shit like this. Update: several men now face felony charges after they taunted Muslims during prayer with bacon at University of South Florida. Bacon, it's really good, bacon. Look, I don't think these people should be arrested necessarily unless there was any physical contact, or if they're pelting them with pieces of bacon, free speech and all. Or if they went into a church or a mosque, and started pelting, Muslims with bacon. But look, if you doing this, like, it's a dick move to go around and taunt people with bacon. It's fucked up. It's not racist, but it's it's negative against their religion. It's just not a cool thing to do. But then again, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's and I don't like that they say Imam cries because of bacon. He's crying because someone is fucking with him about his religion. The same way anyone else's would do with fucking raisins and shit, or I don't know, whatever offends Christians as far as food goes. But this isn't cool. Look, if people are praying, as long as it's out in the middle of like if this was like right outside their business, or if this was right outside their homes, or if this was right outside of a church, you know what? Sure. If it's actively protesting against you, your business, or your home, or your religion, sure. Go outside, just be bacon. But these guys are very clearly, there's nothing around. There's nothing around. They're on top, it looks like a parking structure. Nothing around. They're just here to get closer to Allah or whatever. Look, I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that's going on in places like Dearborn, Michigan, or other places, in some places of the United States. There's some stuff going on in, I think it's Minnesota. That place where they named a street after a terrorist, and they told the pastor he'll do a dance of glee when he moves out of his town. I don't agree with that shit. But at the same time, I don't agree with the inverse. Look at this. These people
confess, every knee shall bow that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the
Father. I didn't realize that he was screaming scripture at these motherfuckers.
Father. Jesus.
These people are not harming anybody. They're sitting here and they're doing what they should do. They're continuing their stuff. They're still praying. They're ignoring these assholes that are doing this. I don't agree with this shit. You're not going to convince me it's a good idea. Now, if it turns out that these motherfuckers are going around like beating up these guys' relatives or something, then we can have a discussion. But just because you know these guys or you heard them from the ground or something, who gives a fuck? I don't agree with the call to prayer going over loudspeakers in American cities. And people say, what about church bells? I'm like, who cares about a little ding ding every now and then? It sounds. It's not reading scripture aloud just because you can't understand the language. I heard one person say bell language. I'm like, fuck you.
Jesus is Lord. Jesus is Lord.
Bacon.
It sounds like Alex
It's
Jones.
really good.
Bacon?
Bacon? Anybody?
Retard.
Under the new rules from the 12th Imam, you can eat bacon. It's halal. You can eat bacon whenever you want.
After the prayer ended, we look up to see them taunting us in our faces with bacon.
And again, on its face, yes, it looks silly that the man's crying about bacon. But if he's a devout follower of Islam, then I don't know what the deal with bacon and Islam is. I'm sure it's the same as bacon and you know, the Jews or whatever. But this is against his faith. And for people to be rubbing something that is against his religion in his face, not actually rubbing, but like just waving it in his face, like even the fumes. Like if it's a dirty, diseased animal to them, I can understand why the man would be upset. This is wrong, and you're not going to convince me otherwise.
Whole thing again.
Every tongue shall confess, every knee.
These guys are gaping anuses. The motherfuckers with the cameras. They go, bacon's really good. This is the kind of shit that a teenager does and should grow out of, if he ever is in that phase at all. But
France Android app? That is weird. Our strongest soldiers are in France. And then you have a lot of these ones, which are sort of like mixed race humiliation porn based in South Asia. Oh, yeah. Is it really? I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked whatsoever. And in fact, I mean, this gets weirder and funnier as well. Like, at She Will Be Wet, account based in India. Oh, dear, my friend. I mean, we could already sense it, right? We could.
And then as far as stupid shit like this, look, I don't think someone her age should be wearing something like this. However, I could just not go to her shows. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's feeling herself, if the audience is feeling herself, who gives a fuck? Don't watch the videos. All right? That's just me. Like, look at her. She's spry for an older lady. Let her have her fun, okay? She's clearly, you know, fit. She's taking pretty decent care of herself. I mean, her voice ain't that great, but I'm just saying, man. Like,
already tell.
Like
there was some military Western military account apparently
look at
with a statue profile that's like the top 100 greatest warriors in history, and 16 of them are Indian, and everyone's like, no one in the West can name an Indian warrior. Like, they can't name an Indian general. Like, I can because I'm an autistic history nerd, but most people can't. And even then, I can only name like one, maybe two. So it's weird that this account happens to list 16.
And because of stuff like this, people are accusing Shoe-On Head of being right-wing again. It's like, are there any American right-wing accounts on this app? And then this person said, well, yes, you are.
It's like, yeah.
Shoe-On Head's a socialist. Sure, she's married to someone who leans conservative, but she's a socialist. She's just a reasonable socialist. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself socialist. I almost said like me, but like, socialism eventually will be the way once we no longer have to have all these manufacturing jobs. Once everything becomes automatic and automated.
See you. I know what your game is.
You don't know what my
but
game
anyway,
is.
It turns out that basically all of the masculine LARPing ones as Kangmin. Sorry, Lee. Kangmin. I can't pronounce foreign names, all right? Like this masculine beast.
Yes, I am a masculine
of course
beast.
He is.
Look at
Connecting via Indian Android app. Of course he is. Just masculine. Just
ego.
Come on. The Man Maker with Jason Statham. It's an Indian. It's just some little.
My mom actually sent me a Jason Statham, like, some little face shroud thing with Jason Statham's face on it. It's actually, if you get the eyes lined up, it's actually pretty interesting looking.
Little skinny, fat Indian guy in India. And it's like, the thing is, we shouldn't be terribly surprised, right? Because you crave the things that you lack. And if you are not personally feeling particularly masculine in India for some reason, then you would start accounts like this. But man, the one I was just shocked to see, Barry Stanton based in South Asia. Now, I assume that means Pakistan. Possibly Bangladesh. But even as Ren points out, even Barry Stanton got great replaced. That is just that's crazy. That's wild. I mean, this never a man hated India as much as Muhammad here. Just anyway. So you got like strange things like this. Jackson Hinkle, based in Burkina Faso. No, he's using a VPN, and this is something that tripped up a lot of people, obviously. But you did get a lot of pro-Israel accounts from India as well, because the Indians hate the Muslims, and so they support the Israelis to a ridiculous extent. And then on the other side of the Israel-Palestine divide, you've got, Indians being like, yeah, I support Israel. And then you have, like, some guy in Indonesia being like, yes, actually, I'm from Palestine. A Palestinian, born and raised in Gaza. I tweet about my life under occupation, and my internet never fails. Yeah, no.
This right here, voter ID. Most people favor voter ID. This is just a fact. And when you it always baffles me when you hear overprivileged white people say that minorities don't know how to find the DMV. It's crazy to me. I've heard politicians say this around the same time that Biden said, if you don't know if you're voting for me, then you ain't black. Like, the only people that oppose this are the people that stand to benefit from it. You need ID to do a lot of things. Buy alcohol, buy cigarettes, get into certain movies, unless you just look ancient. You need ID to do a lot of things. Black people go to the movies. Black people do all of these things. Just the same as any other people. I've never understood this argument. All this does, when coupled with bringing illegals into the country and giving them incentive to vote a particular way, and if not, at the very least, just be counted in the census. But also, if they're not given IDs, these are the cities that are pushing voter ID restrictions. Well, abolishing voter ID being necessary to vote in the country. You can't make this shit up. I swear I thought that was a wax sculpture at first. I don't know. But anyway, look, altogether, it's not a slow news day. I just saw these and thought they looked interesting. The Vera part was the most interesting. I thought it was going to be something else besides this thing that's been going around X all weekend. But a lot of accounts, especially right-wing accounts, but it is a lot of both sides going on here, where a lot of these grifters, especially the ones with no blue check mark, and some with blue check marks, as you can see here, are based out of other countries. The grift is strong. A lot of these people don't have any hair in the game, any skin in the game, sorry. But just be aware of who you idolize. Be aware of who you're watching. A lot of these people are grifters. Even American-based ones are just grifters. They don't care. Sargon does. He's been doing this for 10 plus years. He very clearly does. Shoe on Head very much cares. I mean, hell, you could see it in that Charlie Kirk video that she put out. It really fucking threw her worldview. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. Check out Zoopunk. Go check out Sargon of Akkad or Akkad Daily. And then, of course, Miss Vera Dark. But that's it for me for today, guys. You guys have been awesome. We will see you in the morning. Well, I'll probably be streaming either Ark Raiders or Final Fantasy tonight. But join me for that. And as always,